good morning. Really excited to have you all join us today. So we are going to be covering a ton of information over the next 90 minutes that will give you a full and complete expired listing system. The same system that I used when I was first starting out, that I used and kind of refined over the years, made it better and better, and that helped me sell thousands of expired listings. And I know that's the same thing that we've used for other people that we coach to sell thousands of expired listings. So excited. It's going to be a lot of information. Just make sure you're focused on it. Take good notes, write down the things that are going to be able to implement today. For those that don't know me, I am Brendan Bartic. So with that, I've been in real estate almost 20 years, started out as an assistant to a top producer, went from assistant to agent on my own, to team owner, to brokerage owner, to real estate coaching owner. And hopefully with all of that information that I've learned along the way, I can bring you some value today and give you some tips and strategies that will increase your income and hopefully make your life a little bit better as well. So let's jump right in. I'm going to go and start off here. Oh, actually, Anna reminded me before I jump into that, we wanted to do one thing really quick, which was celebrate our contest winner from last week, which was Scott Chambers. So the contest was our goal setting challenge, and whoever completed their 5 commitments and posted them up on the Facebook page, they would win a $250 Visa gift card. So Scott, yours was by far and away the most creative. We had multiple entries, but the music, the whole thing was amazing. So congrats for getting your goals up. If you haven't done that or you don't know what I'm talking about, you can see that entire replay on our YouTube channel about how to have an easy one-page goal session to net $1 million, right? So you can have visual goals there. Now, the last thing I'll point out, very similar to this class, the fascinating thing about that class that we did, we had about 100 plus people attend that class, and we had less than 5 people complete their goal tracking sheet, right? Their 5 commitments. And I want to start out with that point to the simple fact of it's the same thing with expired listings. People ask me, well, Brendan, why do you want to teach this information and give away your secrets? And isn't your team going to be upset? No, because I know that the hardest part about this entire process is being consistent with this program and actually wanting to do it and actually taking away the skills from it and doing it on a regular, consistent basis. The same thing with the goals. We had a lot of people, oh yeah, I want to really dive in and be held accountable. Okay, well, if you're accountable, then you post your goals everywhere and let the whole world know what you're trying to accomplish. And we had 5 out of 100. So hopefully today that'll leave a little nugget with you of going, that's how much opportunity is out there. I can't even get people to do their own goals. What do you think is going to happen with your competition with expireds? Everybody goes, Brendan, there's so much expired listing competition. I shouldn't even get started. There's not. That's all in your head, because the first time you'll go to make a call, you'll hear 10 people, the seller will be like, 10 people called me. There's 19,000 agents here in the Front Range in every MLS. I don't care I know we have people from all over the country, all over the world, even in fact, that join these webinars. There's always opportunity because no one's going to be that consistent. And I'm going to also show you techniques today that are going to help you set yourself apart from those other people. And if you implement them and make them your own, you're going to be in the money. You're going to be having a great time. So let's jump into it. So again, congratulations, Scott. Let's get into what we're talking about today. All right, so be a hero with expired listings. You can see the slides, Anna. I always double check. Good, just want to make sure. Good. So when we're looking at that and we're talking about how much this is impacted, this is my favorite class to teach of anything else, because I really truly believe if it wasn't for expired listings, I wouldn't be standing in front of you today. It built my entire career. I locked myself in a room every morning, just went to work, and because of that was able to now have the #1 real estate team in Denver, sell over $950 million in residential real estate. And
hello,
can we put everybody on mute, Anna? Thank you. Sorry about that. Or am I the host? Thank you so much. Sorry. Um, so yeah, if you really look at this and you say, hey, I want to add 20 deals, 25, 60 deals to my career. I want to add 5 because I'm brand new. I want to just call the expireds in just my neighborhood. I just feel like, hey, if I'm living here in a house expireds and I'm farming this neighborhood, I should be the one that they list with. Why are they listing with this jerk off Brendan when I live 3 doors down, right? So you can apply this to every single piece, right? And really, really dive into being that expired hero. So when we talk about hero, and I think about that word, what we've got to do is make sure that we're dialing into the psychology of the expired listing, right? So we need to look at it, and where people have trouble with this is if you go into the expired listing game or systems, if you will, and you think that you're just going to call them up and use this script and start making some money, you'll have maybe some limited success, but you won't have long-term success until you really look at yourself as that hero. The psychology of that, knowing that I'm better and I can help and I can make their life, they should work with me because I truly believe that if they work with me, they're going to have a better experience than whatever happened the first time around. So before I pick up that phone, whatever affirmation you need to tell yourself, whatever you need to do to get jazzed up, before you go door knocking, we're going to talk about effective door knocking today, phone calls, marketing, all of that. You can't do any of that unless you start out with the right mindset that no one on earth is in a better position to help them than you. Now, if you don't feel that way and you're like, hey, I struggle with confidence and I struggle, again, a lot of this is fake it till you make it. You got to talk yourself into it. You got to work yourself up. You've got to go, hey, my company is amazing. Hey, my drive is amazing. My personal, effort that I'll put into this is amazing. I was selling expired listings. The first listing I ever sold was an expired listing, and it was a piece of land in Aurora, and I had no clue what I was doing. I'd been making calls for like, I don't know, a month, maybe a month and a half, set this listing appointment for a piece of land out in Aurora, sat down at this guy's kitchen table where I never even saw the piece of land. I just knew where it was somewhere on the map. He was actually smoking a pack of cigarettes in front of me. I remember this crystal clear, right? Like blowing cigarette smoke in my face. And I was like, whew, this is going to be a hard career, right? Signed that listing, sold that piece of land for $130,000. And that one led to the next one, to the next one, to the next one, to the next one, right? So it doesn't matter where you start, it matters where you finish. And I've taken expired listings for $4 million. I've taken expired listings for $50,000 condos and everywhere in between. So there's so much opportunity, but every one of those opportunities leads to another possibility. So got to dial in on being that hero, right? It's very important. So, all right. So why do listings expire, right? We need to really dive in and clearly understand it, because some people just think it's the agent or whatever it is. So 99.9% of the time, it's price. It's literally the price of the listing is what stopped it from selling. Now, when you look at that, that means that that agent that had that listing was either not strong enough, meaning that they weren't having honest conversations with their sellers about the pricing, priced it so high to begin with because they didn't know how to value property and price property. And they just, they went in and they go, so John, what do you want to list the property for? And he's like, oh, $100,000 over market value. You're like, that sounds fun, high five. And you leave and you get a signed listing agreement and you feel good, and it never sells because that agent had no clue what they were doing. They were giving them bad advice. So remember, the only two things that affect residential real estate is price and time. If I price it the right price, it will sell. I don't care how disgusting it is. And if I have enough time, years maybe, it will sell at what that price is that seller usually wants within reason. So price and time, what we have to do as real estate professionals is provide the education, the consulting, the knowledge, the marketing, the exposure, all of the value that we bring is what we do to enhance that, to make sure they get the most money. But at the end of the day, you give me any property, if I price it accurately, it will sell. Don't care what I do, okay? So second is condition. Now, I see a lot of times when I go into expired listing situations, the agent never told the seller that it smelled like cat pee, that the purple, paint in the kitchen that was super, dark purple was going to be awesome to get this listing expired. They told them to leave up all of their, whatever they're into. I had a guy one time, I took this expired listing. He was in love with NASCAR, right? So he had, I think, like 7,000 little NASCAR race cars on shelves bolted to every wall, everywhere. I thought I was like, where's Ricky Bobby? Like, I walked in and I was like, this is insane. And he was like, isn't it awesome? And I was like, if you love NASCAR and don't like houses and walls. So I had to educate that client on the fact that, hey, we gotta make this not only appeal to you, but to the public. So here, we had boxes and we helped them get it all down, got the property sold, right? It was a condition situation. Marketing. Now, when we're looking at marketing, again, marketing plays a major factor. I just had a conversation with a coaching client of mine the other day, and they're like, Brendan, I can't figure out why my listing's not selling. And I was like, all right, well, let's look at it. So I look at it. They've got 40 photos on the MLS, and this house, at best, its best features could have used 5 photos. So 40 photos also expose that home to all of its negatives, right? Well, Brendan, everyone tells me I'm supposed to use as many photos as possible. Nope, that is not true. You're supposed to use photos and photography that flatters the property. I'd rather have less. I can't get people to come see the house if they've already decided in their mind that it's disgusting or that it has this weird room or this weird thing or this weird whatever. Just don't use the picture, right? Don't use the picture. Now, we have that piece, and then we have just overwhelming lack of marketing. The agent didn't do anything to market the property. They went in there with their iPhone, took a couple snapshots. They don't, call the neighbors. They don't do open houses. They don't do any of these things. They have no value. Therefore, the property just sat there and had no attention. And then the one that I spoke to earlier is, and which adds up to all 3 of these, is just an abundant lack of honesty. Because the agents that were listing the previous property weren't either really dialed into their scripts, they weren't dialed into the market knowledge, they didn't know what was happening in the current situation, and they weren't honest enough to have a strategic conversation with the seller that the property never, either the pricing, the marketing, the condition, those conversations never happened. So the seller just sat there, got frustrated, and it didn't happen. Now, besides the agent, there's also factors that, of course, always affect certain things. Lot location. Most of the expireds that I took over, not most, a large percentage of expireds that I took over had something weird. They were on a highway, a train. They backed up next to a industrial park. There was always something that was off. But the problem was the agent didn't have the honesty to explain to them how to comp it versus the neighbors. I see people, main drag, this house is on a main drag. It's literally like on a highway, and they're comping it to the same houses that are 10 blocks in, going, well, that one sold for XYZ, so mine should too. No, 1000%, you can't open the front door without hearing a highway in your backyard or in the front yard. So the honesty factor has got to be critical in this. And when you go back into that hero mode, you have to look at yourself as captain or whatever it is, captain honesty, when you're coming into this, because people want it straight. No one's giving it to them because they're trying to just get a listing. You don't get paid to take a listing, get paid to sell a listing, right? So make sure we're very clear on your honesty, all right? Now, here's what I want people to fall in love with. They're like, oh, there's just not enough opportunity out there. How many expired opportunities are there every single day? So just in the metro area, and you can do this through your own MLS, right? There was 11,964 expireds in the last 365 days, okay? Now, that's 997 every month, 33 a day, 54% of that was detached single family, 46% of that was attached single family. So 997 opportunities just in the front range, just our MLS, right? Just here alone. So when you're looking at that, even if you were focusing on the power of 1%, and I believe in this concept so strongly, if you even said that 25% of those aren't interested and 25% are going to foreclose or just aren't going to sell it or are crazy or whatever it is, you would still have 5,982 qualified sellers over a 12-month period. Now, let's still take away another 50% of those are not sellable. Let's just go crazy numbers and go, they're just insane. The guy wants too much money. The family's on crack, whatever it is, right? Whatever it is, you take another half of that. If you just listed 1% of the 5,982 qualified sellers that expire every year, you'd get an additional 60 listings per year. 1%, 60 listings per year. So, and I'm saying that's if you take away all the garbage out of there. So there's so much opportunity. There's so much abundance of it. And as I said, depending upon how you utilize it, you don't have to do it every morning. You don't have to do it all this. The level of what you do, like I said, I'm going to teach you some techniques today of, hey, I just want to make sure when an expired happens in my neighborhood, I know about it. I know what to say. I know how to get in front of them. I know how to list it. Because at the very least, I mean, I know my neighborhood. I'm a great agent. I know I can sell it. Now, I'm also going to teach you, if you want to play the high game and sell 100 of them a year, I'm going to teach you that game as well. But the thing is there's ample opportunity. There's just lack of effort and consistency to take advantage of that opportunity. All right. So you're cranking out an extra 60 deals a year at an average sales price of 500 grand. That's $750,000 at an average commission. And the reason I use average commission of 2.5%, not because we're not out trying to get 3.2. We've just studied this a long time and all of these, factors that come into it. That's why I'd rather be conservative. So we don't strive for 2.5%. Let me be very clear. Just want to make sure we understand that. So, but even with that, $750,000 a year, if you capture 1% of half of the sellable ones. That's it. So fall in love with that idea. Every time you think about it and you go, hey, maybe I should do this, maybe I shouldn't. How much money are you leaving on the table? What's it worth to you? Okay. All right. Now, the biggest piece that everybody doesn't realize too is the ripple effect of expired listings. So every time I take an expired, I get additional buyer calls. Expireds were what was the catalyst to help me build the real estate team, because I took so many of them. I had so many freaking buyer calls, sign calls, leads, interested parties, that it gave me the ability to give those leads to agents on my team. And then they were able to have success and become successful real estate agents as well. So buyer calls, or if you don't want to build a team, just take them yourself. That's always a benefit as well. Referrals from expired sellers. So now they're in my database. I gave them success. I was the hero. They're now in my 8x8 touch market my way to million system, and they are delivering me referrals. So there's a whole nother bucket there. The increased likelihood of listing more expired listings. Once you start building this resume, right, you can have your references and you can go, look, don't take my word for it. Ask Anna. I just sold hers in 4 days at XYZ and she loved me. Talk to her. You build up that testimonial resume. And then potential listings from buyers looking to buy your expireds. So I have an exclusive list to all of my buyers that I know, hey, look, I have these properties that are off market that I take on that you're going to be able to get into a lot of times before anyone else. I get another lead source that way. So, and there's probably 10 other ones of ripple effects. One of them being cash, right? You sell houses, you make a lot of cash, you can do a lot of things with a lot of cash. So that's probably the best ripple effect. But there's not just the one piece of this that's valuable, it's all the pieces. So how do I find these magical expired listings and how do I target to them and have success? So I'm going to talk to you about paid ways and free ways. Okay. So right now, if you wanted to go to the MLS this morning and run an expired search, you could run the expireds. It's very simple to do. It just literally has it in there as a setting. You do 1 day before or however many days you want to go back, it pulls it up. You would take that list, take those addresses, go to 401.com or True People Search, do a reverse address search in those systems, and it'll try to find you any contact phone number for that property. Okay. Then you can get into paid ones, which is Cole's Directory, the Red X. So I built my career off of the Red X. It was probably the best overall system that I found for me until Mojo came out. And then Mojo, I think, is comparable. They're very similar, but Mojo Dialer also has a better dialer. So if I'm triple dialing different people to make sure that I'm calling them at the highest level, Mojo provided me that ability. Then Land Voice, Vulcan 7, again, they provide expired leads for sell by owner leads, all of this. Now, one of the things that I get questions about is, well, Brennan, I can't, Mojo's like $180 a month or 150. Red X is probably similar to that. If you get all these things, all the things that you need as far as the expireds and for sale by owners. The way you can do it early on is get a couple buddies in the office and split the charge, right? And be like, hey, wouldn't it be awesome if you had access to this too? Now you're going to go, well, aren't they going to call the same ones? Everybody's going to call the same ones. Everybody has access to them. You're going to do this. Your friend Joey's going to pay half the bill or a quarter of the bill, depending on how you divvy it up, and they're never going to use it. And you're going to get all the benefits if you actually decide to do what I say today, right? So you can split the cost between others. Or I look at it and I go, does it make sense for me to spend $2,000 a year to make 750,000? Weird. I don't know if I should do that math. Mom, yeah, I know you wanted to buy me a couch for my apartment. I'll sit on the floor. Can you please send me $2,000 so I can have success in my real estate career? Right? Like that's the call I'm making immediately, right? Sell your old Xbox because you shouldn't be playing Xbox anyway because it's taking up your call time. Whatever you got to do, this is such a powerful weapon and it has so many other benefits to it. Why wouldn't you? Right? Why wouldn't you? So leverage technology to have the massive success. Okay. Now, for those of you that are just like, hey, Brennan, I don't want to do 24. I just want to add 5 extra deals through expireds. I want to crush my local area, my neighborhood, whatever it is. So you can set up an automatic hot sheet in your MLS. It's super easy to do. When I say hot sheet, you just create a saved search for yourself for expired listings that pops up in your inbox every morning. And remember, every time just like how you would do with a buyer client, right? It's the same settings. Like if you're setting up a buyer search for a client, it's the same thing you can set up for expireds. So if I'm setting this up with my parameters, right? Maybe you're like, hey, look, I don't want to screw with any expireds that are under 500,000, that aren't in Lakewood, that whatever other specifications you have. You're not going to get tons of them, but when that one email dings in there and you go, what? The house 6 doors down just expired for me. Walk out of the front of my house, go down, door knock them, say, hey, my name is whatever. I'm super awesome. And I want to list your house. I'll give you a better script, but that's more or less the easiest way of doing it. All right. So include expired and reactivated listings. You're going to want to have both because if you're not doing it that day, the next day that you go, they could have already relisted with someone else. And then you could be in a sign crossing situation, which is not fun, and you will get yelled at and disciplined. So you got to make sure you cross-reference, of course, everything that's coming back active because you don't want to be a jerk off and screw with somebody else's listing that they just took. So pull it every morning and use tech for your search. Leverage as much technology as you can to make this process easier. All right. Now, with all of the expireds, the other piece is that we've got to stock them. So like we talked about, Cole Realty resource, one of the best ones out there to have this information and data. This comes down to a data finding game. LexisNexis is what bounty hunters use and like people that have to serve like divorce papers use. It's extremely expensive, but you get what you pay for, right? If we think about it and we say, look, every day on average, there's going to be 30 expired listings available in my area. Right? So 30 expired listings in my area. If I'm looking at that and I'm saying, okay, 30 expired listings in my area, then on average, most services are going to be able to find About, I would say probably 30 to 40% with good contact information. That leaves 60% of the ones that these services can even try to hunt down with their algorithms not available. Now, if I pay to have extra, companies pay even more to get better information, it's going to help me out. Because if I can speak to them, I can sell them, okay? So you've got to stock them. Now, the second piece of stocking them that's extremely important as well is when you're sitting there and you're ready to rock and roll in your expired process, you hopefully are going to have two screens, right? You don't have to have two screens, but it's helpful because when I'm working on expireds, I'm looking at one screen that's the expired information. And on the other screen, I'm pulling up everything I can about that neighborhood, about that property, what it's close to, so I can have an educated conversation. So when I'm going through my expired script and I'm like, oh my gosh, and you didn't sell and you're right next to the train tracks? Gosh, that must be so nice that the train tracks are right there. What a fun thing if you like trains, right? Whatever it is that I'm talking to them about, it makes them understand that I know their neighborhood. Oh my gosh, you're right by this, you're right by that. Wow, how did you not sell? That's insane. Let me come over and explain why. All right, so we want to get as much info. Now, there's also the other side of this that I see agents do. They get in analysis paralysis. I'll see an agent because they don't want to pick up that 1,000-pound phone. They'll sit there and analyze the schnockers out of this property. They'll know more about the property than anything else because they're like, before I make this call, I don't want to sound stupid, so I better know everything. And they're trying to memorize it. And by the time you make the first call, I've already listed the property. I've already been to the house and back, right? So there's a balance between speed and research, right? You got to have that balance of both. I'll tell you what always wins: speed, right? You call 10 of them, I don't care how little of research you did, you call 10, you're going to have a better odds of calling one with a ton of research. Okay, so there's the balance there. All right, now we got to get prepared to call. Okay, now, so if we're doing this in the expired game, we know the earlier you are, the better you are within reason. Okay, we know right now that people are calling expireds at 6 a.m. in the morning, maybe even earlier, 6 a.m. in the morning, trying to be first and beat every single other person out on that call, right? So if I'm looking at that and I'm saying, holy mackerel, it's 6 a.m., are you going to irritate someone? Yes, you probably are. We've looked at it and said that probably the sweet spot is right at 7:45 in the morning, okay? You're right on that verge of 8 o'clock. We've found that that's probably the acceptable time, anytime. But again, live and learn. I'm not saying that that's the golden time. So that time, and then the other process, call them 3 times a day: 7:45, noon, and 6 p.m. Right? You're going to have people that don't get home until after work, that don't even have their phone on or don't want to deal with it, and you'll catch them at that time. Now, the most valuable time that you can ever call an expired is Saturdays and Sundays, right? Saturdays and Sundays, if you only decided to add another 20 deals to your business, and you said, I only call expireds on Saturdays and Sundays, you'll take your level of competition down almost 90% by calling on Saturdays and Sundays. I can't get people to call. My own team won't call them on a Tuesday, right? So who do you think is going to be calling them consistently on a Saturday and Sunday? And they're some of the best trained agents on earth, because it's all about consistency. Life happens, dental appointment, a showing that I promised myself I had to go do because I have no control over my schedule. Everybody is naturally inconsistent. That's why there's so many opportunities for you to have success in this, all right? So Saturday and Sunday, valuable. And then the largest day of the month to call, the first of the month. Every first of the month is a game changer for expireds, because everybody usually lists in 30-day increments. So they'll list until the end of June, the end of July, the end of whatever. The largest day in expired histories is January 1st. We'll just keep it on the market till the end of the year. Just extend it till the end of the year. You'll have so many. I mean, I think this last year, I think it was 560 or some crazy number. Oh, it wasn't that big. I don't know. It was a massive amount of numbers on that first of the year call. And we were all teed up for it, hungover, not feeling that great from partying the New Year's Eve the night before, throw up, make a call, grind it out, and set a bunch of appointments and have huge success, right? Like it's just a mindset thing. So if I'm looking at my calendar, and then if you get the superfecta of a Saturday or Sunday on the first of the month, well, you're in the money, right? That's the holy grail of expired calling day, right? So look at being smart. Do what others won't to have what others want, right? I have that. If you're going to be doing this at a high level, put that quote in front of you every single day. Do what others won't to have what others want. And you'll crush this. You'll absolutely crush this.
So Brendan, when you're calling these expireds multiple times a day, do you leave messages? What's that process of call?
Absolutely. Great question. Yeah. So when you leave a message, I never tell them my company, never tell them anything about me. Hey, this is Brendan. Hey, hey, this is Brendan. Just had a quick question about your house. Can you give me a call back? That's it. They don't know what I'm calling for. They don't know what it's in regards to. We've found that that's the best way of possibly doing this. You can also double tap. So double tap is where you call. If they don't answer, hang up immediately, call them back again because they might think it's an emergency and they'll pick up the phone. The other side of that is you also really irritate people. So it depends on how good you're at diffusing the bomb once they get on the phone, which I'll talk about those techniques as well. So, yeah. If you're using a dialer, you can pre-program this voicemail into the dialer and it drops it automatically for you. Okay, so you can do that. If you want to take it a step further, and I'll give you an extreme pro tip, right? You can use slide broadcast or slide dial, and you can do this, and you can drop a voicemail to every expired listing every morning because you're scared to even call them, and you can bypass their phone number and go straight to their voicemail with that voice message automatically for every expired every morning. Pretty powerful. All right. So now you're back in your session. And if you see here, so you're going to want to have a mirror, your scripts, your schedule, your affirmations. I talk about this wall every day because I truly believe the environment that I created is what gave me success. Now, this wasn't what my office looked like when I first started because I didn't have an office. I didn't even have a cubicle. I had a table in a room, and my top producer that I worked for, she goes, here's a list, go call them and shut up. And I was like, cool, let's go to work. So I made a little, station out of like those things that you do for like a school project. And I created this same thing and I brought it around with me like a little dork, and everybody in the office made fun of me, and they didn't make fun of me for very long when I was beating all of them. Right? But I was like, I don't care. I need to have this stuff around me, and I don't have enough money to have an office. And where I officed at that time, there wasn't even any space available to have an office. So it was what it was. I went from that to a storage closet to a bigger office as production became more and more increased. And that was motivating to me as well, right? If you look at this slide, there's also a list at the bottom there below the mirror. And that was the rankings of knowing exactly where I was in the entire market as far as production and agent production. That was motivating to me, moving up that list every single week, week after week, right? So that was something that was on there. My affirmations were on there. My daily schedule was on there. So your environment is conducive to this. You're never going to really want to do this at a high level if every day you just go in. You got to make it fun. Every day you go in and you go, oh, I got to call these jerk offs, and they're going to yell at me, and this is going to not be a whole lot of fun. But Brendan said I had to do it, otherwise I'm going to be out of business in a year. That's a whole different mindset that is not going to get us very far. So you're in the sales business. You need to have a headset, right? You're a professional salesperson, noise canceling headset. Spend the money. I prefer Blue Tiger. That's the one that truck drivers use. It's an amazing headset. It's like $69 on Amazon. It's absolutely phenomenal. You can have double ear canceling or just one. Now you got to get out of your ego because you're going to go, man, I look stupid walking around the office with this huge headphone on. Who cares? You're getting rich. Laugh at them. Go, haha, this is the headphone that makes me rich. You got to have the right tools to do this. Okay. And then the mirror is simply to keep your energy level up. Right? If you can have a stand-up desk, this is all about energy. You're bouncing around. You're going into the game every day. You're like, all right, expired game. Hear that whistle blow at 7:45. All right, I'm in. And you're going into it with that mindset that you're just going to crush it. Cool. So, and then of course your scripts and dialogues have to be at the highest of level and in front of you all the time. So you're getting osmosis into your brain. You're basically brainwashing yourself with the information every single day. All right, cool. So with expireds, we've got to be empathetic, not apologetic. And this is the problem that I see with a lot of agents that go into the expired game is it takes a high level of empathy to do this. They're frustrated, irritated, mad, upset, in financial, they have, again, if they don't get this house sold, they're supposed to already be in Indiana for a job. They can't carry both mortgages. So you're empathetic to their situation, but you're not apologizing for what happened because you didn't do it to them, right? You're not apologetic. You're here to be empathetic with them. So they think that all real estate agents are the same. That's the biggest piece that we've got to get out of their head is that what are you going to do different? Who cares? I'm going to relist it with my same agent. Yeah, whatever. It was my fault that it didn't list. She told me that I should have done a price reduction, but I didn't. And so I'm going to give her another chance, right? They all think we're the same. And we're going to talk about how to beat that. They're always looking for answers. They might think I can sell it for a lower price. Like many sellers, they think their house is special. So the one you're going to hear all the time is, well, Brendan, the reason I expired is because my home is really unique and we just didn't find that right buyer. We just didn't find that right buyer, right? Like that magical white buffalo unicorn buyer that we've rarely seen. But Brendan, I want you to go find it. So and when you're doing these conversations, I completely understand you're looking for this unique buyer or this magical buyer. But Mr. Seller, let me ask you a question, right? You would agree that every home has special features and benefits. And I know your home is extremely special, but the other homes that sold while you were on the market before had similar different traits and characteristics, but they sold and yours didn't. Why do you think that is? And you've got to talk them through this, and you start whispering and you start, being very, very kind of just quiet and calm and really just, nurturing them through it to get to where you need to go, which is, let me show you a way to help you. Let me help you. Let me be your hero. Whatever happened before, we can't let it happen again. All right. So be empathetic, not apologetic. All right. Then we got to know what to say. Okay. So Anna, our expired call script, I think we're putting available on our private Facebook page where you can find that and a ton of other resources. But the expired script, there's 1,000 expired scripts out there. I like ours, of course, because I've used it for years. There's a lot of different versions of this. The simple fact of it is I'm calling to find out the situation that happened with the seller, and then the rhythm of the script leads to an appointment. That's the whole purpose of the script. I need to diagnose the problem, right? So I'm taking their temperature, I'm checking their pulse, I'm figuring out all of these things. And then I'm going, look, so I can give you the full diagnosis, I need to set an appointment so I can come over and do the examination, right? I need to set an appointment so I can come over and do the exam. And that's all I'm doing. And this is where that honesty factor comes back in, where nowhere in the script it goes, I can sell it, I can do this, I can do that, I can do that. Right? It says we sell a lot of homes in the area, but I'd like to view your home or view your property, explain the aggressive approach I take to get homes sold, right? I just want to explain the aggressive approach. Now, some of you on this call are going, I'm not aggressive, Brendan. That's not my sales technique. Then don't use the word aggressive. Say magical, say unbelievable approach that you take to get homes sold, proven, whatever you want to tweak in that word. Don't get in your head about it, tweak it, move on. But this was designed for a very simple reason, to keep the rhythm of the conversation so it leads to an appointment. Okay. So we teach a whole other course on scripts and dialogues. The best way to learn this and memorize it is to practice it. So if you're not already joining us, which I know a lot of you are for Thursdays, so every Thursday at 12 o'clock Mountain Central Time, we offer free role play. It's absolutely phenomenal. It's in a fun kind of game show atmosphere. We go through every script, every dialogue. All you're doing in there is you're sharpening your blade. You're getting a little bit better at conversations that can lead to success. It's free. Jump on. You don't have to participate. If you want to participate, you can. You can jump on, enjoy it, get better. I've watched people go from 0 to 100 real quick by just doing that one simple thing, script practice.
So I provided the Zoom link for this week's Thursday Throwdown role play in the chat box. So if you guys want to go ahead and save that, we'd love to see you on Thursday. And Brendan, before we move on, I've got a really great question, and it really works with this expired script. Can we talk about how we handle if I don't sell a lot of homes in that area? What do I say to that expired listing?
Well, great question. So two things. If you're with a large company, we sell a lot of homes in that area, right? So that's one of the nice things about being with a large brokerage, and why, I always is because I could leverage their sales, not mine. Now, if you're an independent or a smaller boutique that maybe doesn't do a lot in that area, then don't even bring that up. Don't again, with that script, if you say, we sell a lot of homes in that area, and your company's never sold homes in that area, then just change the script to say, I've helped a lot of sellers just like you with my aggressive marketing. I'll be in your neighborhood, and you just tweak it a little bit. I've helped thousands of, maybe, okay, let me take that back. Maybe you haven't helped thousands of sellers. You could go to my real estate system has helped thousands of sellers. Your system that you copied, hopefully from me, worked for somebody, right? So just leverage the system has helped thousands of sellers. There's always a way to do this, to make sure that what I want as a hero is I want a system. I want a proven model that helps get homes sold. And the model, you can make it as simple or complicated as you want. Your model could be professional photography, just listed postcards. I door knock 200 homes in your neighborhood, every time I list your property. I do X, Y, Z, and I'll give you all kind of, we talk about a ton of this in our group coaching program. And Anna, our group coaching program when is that being offered?
Yeah, so we're kicking off group coaching on Wednesday, July 8th at 11 a.m. So I'll be sure to send a lot of information out to everyone after this in case you guys are interested in being involved.
Yeah, so we build out that whole program for people so they can understand, because it's just a symptomatic system of value. I get it. I was intimidated when I was brand new, and I was just like, I don't really know what I'm doing. Like, I hope I don't screw up even going out there. So we get in our heads about it. At the same time, though, it's your personal amount of service and hard work that you can put into it that can always separate you from everyone else. Then we'll talk about how to build your team, not meaning an actual team with real estate agents, but your inspector, your title rep, your stager, your whatever it is. That's where your value comes in. Okay. So if I'm screening it right now, if I have two screens up and I'm calling expireds, and I'm looking at the photos and I go, oh my gosh. So Anna, did you guys have a stager look at your property prior to listing it?
No, we didn't.
Right, 9 out of 10 times, no. Oh my gosh. Well, I offer a free complimentary staging consultation with our licensed and state certified stager. Her name is Candy. She's absolutely amazing. I would love to talk about, you're going to have these different tools. Now, if you offer a staging consultation, you pay a stager, depending on, what your agreement was with them, $100 to $250. They go out there for an hour. It's the best money you've ever spent. But boom, I just added value to that listing. As an expired listing, all you're really doing is you're solving a problem. There's some problem that has to be fixed with this situation. Again, I need to do the diagnosis so I can either do the prescription or I can do the exam to get to the prescription of what they need to do. Now, if you're going, I don't know, Brendan, it looks good to me, then you need more training, right? We probably need some more training, right? So whatever script you use, memorize it, love it. Remember, the script and why it's so powerful is they're going to take you all over the place. When you're just looking at trying to get back to these questions so you can decide, does it even make sense for you to go meet with them? So as you're going through it, they're going to be like, da, 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 and you're going to be like, oh, and then you're going to come back to it. And then they're going to say this. And we have a whole script book with 50 objection handlers that are the same 50 you're going to hear from every seller on earth, every buyer on earth. You get really good at those. They take you off script, neutralize the objection, come back to script, rhythm, 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 appointment set, on my way, high five, making money. right? That's all this whole thing comes down to. All right.
When we're talking about staging, Brendan, and if I'm selling it as is, do you still recommend a stager?
No. Yeah. At that point, it's unnecessary unless, well, no, it wouldn't ever be. I mean, even if they had insane colors of paint or whatever it is, yeah, no, this would just be, the staging consultation is just a value add that we can offer if, again, I think it's necessary. Some houses I go into, it's not necessary at all. I can tell from looking at it, the house is saleable. And the way that I always determine if a house was saleable, is it boring and neutral and pottery barn enough to apply to the masses? And if I think that is a high yes, then I'm like, you're good to go. If there's little things that I think that are tweaks, but I also use the staging consultation to provide the difference between me and other agents. So is it worth 250 bucks to make 12 grand? The answer always usually ends up being yes. Okay. So objections, as we were just talking about, they're going to throw you off course. So this is right from our script book. So Anna's going to say to me, I'm calling her up. She's going to be like, well, why are you even calling me? Do you have a buyer? So Anna, I'm working with several buyers right now, but that's not why I'm calling. I'm calling today to find out a little more information about your property and see if I can view the home. I'll be in your neighborhood this afternoon. I can stop by today at 4 or would tomorrow at 1 work better for you? Everything in there is honest. Everything in there is honest. Now, the way that you deliver it and the amount of energy and the amount of excitement and the amount of pizzazz is going to greatly increase the effect of that working. But it's a very honest objection. So another one you're going to hear with expired quite a bit. We're going to stay with our agents. So Anna, I can appreciate that you like the previous agent, but the fact is they did not do the job you hired them to do. I'll be in your neighborhood this afternoon. I'd like to stop by and view the home and explain the aggressive approach myself or my team or my brokerage takes to get homes sold. I can stop by today at 4, would tomorrow at 1 work better for you? Now, if I would have read that like, hey, I can appreciate that you like your previous agent, but you know what, the fact is they didn't do the job you hired them to do. That's a totally different objection handler. So your passion, your emphasis, your energy that you deliver this on, people, especially expireds, they want to work with high energy, excitement. They want the hero. You don't see a lot of heroes that are like, dun, 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 I'm here, right? It's dun, 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 I'm blasting through the door and I'm here to save the day, right? It's got to be that kind of experience. Cool? All right.
That's really where you can also use the mirror, right? If you're talking to an expired on the phone and you're looking at someone, that energy and those emphasis, even through your facial expressions, are going to come through in the phone to be the superhero, not the dud superhero. So just another little tip there.
Yeah, well said. And again, standing up, pacing, walking around. It's hard to do this when you're sitting at a desk and staring at a screen. It's hard to keep that energy. So, and then the last objection, there's again 50 of them. You can go look them up that we've got for you. How much is your commission? So, and I can appreciate your goal is to net the most money possible, but at this point, I have not seen the home, and I'd like to be sure I can actually help you. I'll be in your neighborhood this afternoon. I can stop by today at 4, or would tomorrow at 1 work better for you? Because remember, they can't see your face. They can't see your expressions. They can only barely hear you through the phone. They're irritated. They're putting their kids in the car to go to school. They're doing all of this stuff. Your passion will increase your percentages massively. Get excited. Go into Shakespearean. You know, I always tell this joke when I do scripts and role plays. I was like, I literally looked at it where I was putting on like this hat, and I was like, as soon as I put on this imaginary hat, I'm in Shakespearean mode. And it was cheesy. People were like, Brendan, you sound like such a tool. I'm like, my bank account is good though. So you can laugh at me all you want, right? But I have to get out of my ego and out of my head and look at it as a performance. I was performing. You have to perform. All right. Now maybe you say, Brendan, that's not for me, scripts and phone, and it's not for me. Maybe you're just better in person, right? Maybe for you, it's better in person. So one of the big pro tips that I'll also tell you today is if you can, right now, if you set up your alerts right with all of your expireds And you might not be going to the office, but if you're going to the office, on your way home from work every single day, what if you just door knocked one expired listing? One a day keeps bankruptcy away, right? One listing every day on your way home. Look at the map. You live in Aurora, you live in Denver, there's an expired somewhere close to you, or look at the last 5 days. Maybe you go, well, there's nothing. And here's the first thing you're going to do. You're going to go, none today, Brendan. Haha, don't have to work, right? Go a little bit further out then. You might have to journey into some other neighborhoods, get weird. But regardless, the point being, and I can already see some of you with a map being like, oh yeah, that's not on my route. Yeah, there's no way. No, not close enough. Get crazy, go a little bit out and door knock somebody. Door knock them, and when they answer the door, you're just gonna go, hi, my name is with whatever, company, XYZ company, and I just stopped by today because I noticed that your property just came off the market and I was absolutely shocked. I actually live in the area. I'm just amazed that this home didn't sell. Do you have a few minutes for me to take a look at the home and explain to you the aggressive approach I take to get homes sold? That's it. They're either going to say yes, no, or they're not going to open the door, right? If they don't open the door, the technique that I use, I always carry a little stack of yellow sticky notes with me. Yellow sticky notes, the little notepad ones. And all I do is I stick a note on their front door saying, had a few questions about your property. Can you please give me a call and leave my phone number on that note? Don't leave a business card. I don't leave anything else. I need to talk to them before they can disregard me as some slimy real estate agent. I just need to talk to them. I can't sell them if I can't talk to them. I can't build a relationship if I can't talk to them. Okay. So now there's 100 different techniques of doing this. I was just talking to Anna, an agent that I know and I work with. She does a cute package that she drops off that has sample marketing that she does. It has her business card, a handwritten note card, and a payday candy bar. And her note says, hey, sorry you missed out on your payday. I can help you get what you want in the time you want. Give me a call. Enjoy the candy bar or enjoy the payday bar, right? I was like, that's kind of cute. It's kind of cheesy, but it's cute. I couldn't do it, right? But so you can make it your own, right? Make it fun. So there's so many techniques. A lot of these different things. You go on YouTube, you can watch all this stuff. Like I said, your morning mastery. Wake up, go on the treadmill, take your YouTube remote and go, just hit the button that you can talk into it and go expired listings. You'll have so many cool things that pop up and find out what your technique is, right? I can only tell you what worked for me, but we're all different. What you need though is a strategy. At the end of the day, all we're talking about here are proven strategies that we know have worked, all right?
Now we're talking about strategies, Brendan, and especially this one, it kind of inspired me to ask, are there other strategies like, can I do a text campaign? I mean, we talked about slide dial. Are there letters I can send? Like, what else can I do if I just don't want to get on the phone and call an expired?
Absolutely, absolutely. And there is so many different things. So first of all, and again, we teach this in an entire full length course, but you have text campaigns. So depending on your CRM, you can obviously text them. The people that are having massive success with expireds are sending video text. So you have the phone number, you send them a cute video text saying, hey, this is Anna. I noticed that your property had come off the market. I was actually shocked. My name is blah, 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 blah with XYZ Real Estate. I help expired listing sellers get their home sold for the most money possible. Give me a call back when you get this. And then it's your face. So they're building a human connection. All we're trying to do is stand out from the crowd. Right? You really want to stand out in some form or fashion instead of everybody going, I heard that before. Yeah. Oh, you already have a buyer. Me too. Everyone does. Right? So whatever it is, you're trying to stand out. Now, you've got email campaigns. You've got direct mail, which we're going to talk about here in a second. And then one of the things that I want to dive into and just give a brief conversation about is, what do you do or what programs do you offer that are different? Okay. So for us, we offer an instant cash offer, sell it in 60 days or we'll buy it, fix and list, and then our regular and most successful program, well, I don't know what we call it. We just call it our retail sales system, right? Or our general Bartic group marketing plan of action, right? So you have 4 different options on how I can help you as the seller. Now, if you don't have an instant cash offer program or a sell it in 60 days program or any of these programs, fix and list, don't worry. I didn't either when I first started. I learned how to do them. So, and you know, this is exactly one of those things that we teach in our relentless group coaching with Brendan Bartic coaching. And we also teach this in our one-on-one coaching, our elite one-on-one coaching for our clients, is developing those systems that we can customize to you. Do you have to do sell it in 60 days? You could do sell it in 62 days. You could do sell it in 55 days. This is a technique. It's a technique. And when you truly understand it, I could get a lot of questions on this right now, but it's once you truly understand those techniques and how to leverage them, you're so much more powerful instead of, I can put you on the MLS and take some better pictures. Right? Like, cool. That's so awesome, Brendan. Thank you so much, right? I got to give them something. How can I be more competitive than my competition? What separates me from apart? And this is what I talked about before as well. If you're new in the real estate industry, but you have a very precious commodity, which is time. So you could offer to a seller, unlike me, where yes, I'll go door knock. If it's a horse property, I'll go to every single stable and horse, whatever, tack shop, right? Stuff that horse people do. And I'll go and meet with all the horsey people and tell them about your property, right? In person and drop off a brochure. You can customize strategy and effort to time. If they're in a golf course community, I'm going to take your brochure and tape it in the bathroom stall at every golf course. I'm just kidding. Don't do that. I'm just saying, but I'm going to go talk to every golf pro and I'm going to let them know it, because we know that usually golf communities, they move from one buyer to another, or one community to another, right? Give them a strategy. Do something different that makes you special, right? That you can offer. Again, we spend $50,000 on radio, television, and digital advertising. You might not be able to do that right now, right? But that's one of our leverage points, but I didn't have that when I started. Cool. So, you know, use what works. And like I said, if you want to learn these techniques, we're really excited to be able to show you those in full detail. All right. So it takes time, right? So real gains take time. So when we're looking at this, right? Wow, that was impressive. So when we're looking at this, we're going to talk about now your 8x8, 1x12 touch system and your 33 touch system. So if I'm looking at expireds and I say, okay, I want to mail to them, that first either letter or handwritten note card, you want to hit them 8 weeks in a row, then put them on a 1x12. Okay. Now everybody's like, I thought it was an 8x8 33 touch. No, because this is a targeted market group, right? This isn't your Mets. This is your haven't met bucket. So make it even easier for you to start out if you're not doing any of this. When you have an expired lead come through, and let's just say you want to dial in just your neighborhood or just your city, you could send a letter to them the first week, a market report to them a second week, your sample marketing the third week, and the fourth week you could send them testimonials from previously happy clients, right? So now you've got a 4-week mailer for expireds, leveraging you in front of them. Then after that, put them on a 1x12, a 12-month mailer, right? So once a month for 12 months with just helpful information about staging techniques, all of this. Most expireds relist after the first 2 to 3 weeks. It's something like, I think 60% are in the first 2 to 3 weeks. Then it goes like another 10%, another 10%, but there's still expireds that have listed that wait to list for a year, 2 years, 3 years sometimes, and all that. So you want to be there when they're ready. So it takes time, and it takes about 3 to 6 months of us doing both to really see any true gains. You know, we always talk about this. Yeah, if I wanted to go bench press 500 pounds, it's not going to happen if I just go try to bench press 500 pounds. I'll crush my freaking chest. I've got to start with 5, 10, 15, 20, and then I'll get stronger. Then I'll see real gains. The reason there's so much opportunity with expireds is no one wants to play the long game. They'll get motivated from this class, wake up tomorrow, go spend 150 bucks on a dialer, call for 3 days, get frustrated, and drop it. That's just the way, that's why I have no problem teaching this. right? I hope that's not the case. I want you to succeed. There's ways and strategies to get better and accountability. And, again, all of those things. That's why real estate teams exist. That's why real estate coaching exists, is because all of us need to learn and need accountability for us to have long-term success. A lot of people this is why Orange Theory exists, right? Orange Theory and those companies like Orange Theory, the reason they exist is because I always ask my wife, I'm like, we have a gym at home and I never go to one of those places. And she's like, I'm like, why are you paying to go have somebody yell at you to work out? She's like, I'd never do it otherwise. I'm like, genius, right? It's genius. Instead, you could just wake up, get on the treadmill, do whatever you needed to do, have whatever you needed to have, but we're all different, right? That's what makes it special. So you've got to be in an environment and in a community. It's hard to do this solo without that support or those people around you that really want to see you succeed with it. So cool. So it takes time. All right. So marketing never sleeps. So when we said set up that 8-week system, you could make yours whatever you want. It can be very customizable. I get a lot of questions. Well, Brendan, can you send me your expired listing letter? The answer is no. I'm not going to send you my letter because, again, even if you copy it. Now, we do provide this in our group coaching and elite coaching clients, right? We provide them samples, but we want to customize it to you. The concepts are very different. I offer something completely different than you offer. So the wording I can help you with, and we give you a lot of these techniques, but I can't write the letter for you because it's got to be special to you. So once you have everything, make it easy. You need to have all these printed materials already done. Now, if you're doing nothing right now, do 2 weeks. Why go 8? Why go 4? Just start out with, for every expired, I'm going to send 2 things 2 weeks in a row. Then I'm going to put them on a 1x12. And then every expired gets the same thing for 12 months until I see that they relist. Now, here's the thing, don't get in trouble with your board, right? If they end up relisting and you're marketing to them on an expired campaign, make sure that you put a caveat on the bottom of your mailer that says, please disregard this if you're already previously listed. This is not an intent to take you away from your other agent or whatever. You're going to want to run your list. Plus, you don't want to waste money on postage. If they already relisted, yoke them off the list and just take them off. Now, dialers and the Red X, Vulcan 7 will help you do this because they automatically do it for you every day. And then weekly, you can just export out your list. The daily ones, you're going to be fine because even if they relisted that day, you're going to be okay with the board because it was that day. You saw it come off the market. It's not a big deal. All right. And then, yeah, after 8 weeks, once a month until they relist or die or tell you to screw off, right? That's the method there. All right. So marketing never sleeps. So the point of the 8x8 is to establish a relationship. It's to brand you in the mind of them. So we're talking high impact, high saturation. You're going to be the #1 expert in the mind of every expired leads. Now, I tested this. I had a buddy of mine who was in real estate and he was taking his property off the market himself. So he just let it expire out because we wanted to see what would he actually get in the mail? What would really, really happen? So the first day he got about 3 or 4 letters, postcards, it was 3 or 4 things. Second week, 1, third week, nothing, fourth week, nothing, fifth week, nothing, sixth week, nothing. No one's doing it, right? Because it takes a system and it takes determination and it takes a little effort and it takes a little, all of this stuff. So if you want to win and you know that almost 99% of agents are going to stop after the second week, why wouldn't you be there? Well, Brendan, you don't understand. I don't have the time to do the mailers. Right. Well, you don't understand, Brendan. I can't afford the stamps. Call your mom. Call somebody. Sell your Xbox. I don't care. Whatever you got to do, get the money. Right? Well, you don't understand, Brendan. There's always, if I hear you don't understand and I'm unique one more time in my career, I'm going to literally just scream at the top of my lungs, right? You're not. You just think you are. And that's what's holding you back. So get over it, get a system, spend a little bit of time on the front side so you can get paid on the back side. That's all this comes down to, right? So win the mindshare battle and establish yourself as #1. All right, so other mailer ideas. Okay, So as we said, sample marketing. Now here's the thing, right? So I've got some people on this call that I know are going to have huge success because they're attending all of these. They're going to role play. I'm super excited for them. So let's maybe say that you don't have this huge track record and you don't have a lot of sample market or a lot of marketing. Create sample marketing. All you need to do is have a house from Photoshop. It doesn't have to be your listing. It'll say 123 Elm Street, and you write a note and saying, this is just an example of the amazing marketing I do to help my clients get their home sold. I'd love to share all of this with you in person. Give me a call so we can set a time to meet. And you just make sample beautiful marketing. That's absolutely amazing. And again, our sample marketing has Photoshopped houses. There's not a single house that I tell this story. I used to keep these huge filing cabinets of every house I sold with marketing because I thought that I would take that marketing and show them that I sold this house. We literally had so many filing cabinets, we still can't get rid of them. And we had all these extra brochures. No one cared. They want to care about the work, what it's going to look like. And most of the houses I listed were ugly anyway. So they didn't even make good sample marketing, right? It's like, so use that to really do. Now, for a luxury listing, here's some pro tips. If you want something to get opened up in the mail, use a gold envelope. Use a gold or silver envelope. People will open it, right? Again, remember, hello, separating myself from the pack. Here I am. Here I am. How many basic 3x5 or 8.5 by 11 manila envelopes do you think these people get? Then the people aren't even handwriting them because they're too lazy to do that. They're putting a label on them and they're going, I'm not, now even if you do that, you'll still have good success if you do enough of them, right? So your goal here is either massive automation or personal so I get more open. You're always going to have a trade-off between both of those rates, right? So imagine you're the consumer. Start thinking like the consumer. What would I open? What would pop out to me? So I'll give you another one that I think is amazing. So we work with a company, and when you go to open up the envelope, 2 paper dice pop out. It's the coolest thing. It's like origami. 2 paper dice pop out because they're like squished in there flat. When you open this thing, it goes boop. And it says on each of them, don't roll the dice. They're little dice. Don't roll the dice again on listing with a garbage agent. It doesn't say that. It says it better. Don't roll the dice again on getting your home sold. Call me today. I was like, boy, you know, and that was cool. I think, first of all, you're going to give somebody a heart attack one of these days because the things pop out as soon as you open it up. You have no idea. But what they just did is they won the mind share. They won the difference. I'm different. I actually do marketing and you just experienced and I think one of the sides of the dice says, if this caught your attention, think what I can do for your listing, right? That's marketing at a very cool and very high level, all right? So then we've got to be absolutely relentless, okay? Now, if you're going to play the expired game, we know that 2% of all sales are made on the first contact, 3% on the second, 5% on the third, 10% on the fourth, and 80% are made on the 5th to 12th contact. This is where everybody gives up early on is they call the expireds once, nope, twice, nope. If I can even get people to go to 3 calls, it's an absolute miracle, but they just don't do it because time, right? The excuse is always time. Well, I think for a lot of people, it's time and organization of the system, okay? So if you're doing this, this is where the paid services can help a lot. But for years, my mentor, I was her assistant. When I was her assistant, I would wake up every single morning. I would go to the MLS, run the numbers, use 411.com or yellowpages.com at the time. And that was even kind of state of the art and brand new. Take the addresses, run them. Then again, old school, I would fax her the list with handwritten phone numbers written next to every property's address on an MLS sheet, fax them to her. She would sit on her patio with a cordless phone and a pack of Newports, smoke about a pack of Newports, make all of her expired calls, and set like 4 or 5 appointments. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen, right? And she was just dominated at it. And it was crazy. Like I've never seen anything like it because she was very good at what I think a lot of us have issue with is she was dialed into her one thing. She was so good at this one expired script and working with expireds. And she cleared out all the other distraction that she knew if she just did this every day, and at the time she was making like 1.5 million in GCI, you know, obviously had me working for her, ended up having 2 or 3 assistants, you know, as it progressed. But she was just good at that one thing. She was really searching for mastery in that specific focus. So this is a game of not giving up. This is a game of not only being first, but being last, right? You want to be there in the beginning. You want to try to nail them first, you know, be the first one on the phone. Hey, I'm here. I'm exciting. I'm awesome. I'm of value. I'm a hero. I'm here to help you. But you also want to be there in 3 months. Hey, just checking in again. Brennan, gosh, you've been calling us every week for 9 weeks. I know. I'm just excited. I can't wait to work with you guys. I just want you to know I'm here. Are you guys ready yet? Because I'm ready. When should I come over? It's going to feel awkward, right? You didn't grow up in school being like, you know what you should do is make a bunch of random phone calls to people you don't know and try to get in front of them to sell them your services. I missed that class, right? I wish they would have taught it because people would have made a lot more money in that class. But that's the one that you've got to learn, is to be absolutely relentless. So let's put it all together. All right. So you're saying, Brennan, you know what? I'm ready to rock and roll. You made me a believer. I'm ready to get this done. How do I get it all done? Well, we just talked about be first and be last. Recognize the opportunity. Okay. Now remember what I said with that door knocking plan. Imagine if you just door knocked the 40% that people can't get phone numbers for. No one's touching them. 40% of all expireds are just sitting there doing nothing because no one, no matter what the algorithm is, we can't get a contact information for them. So go buy the house. Leave a note, leave a sticky note, leave a payday candy bar, whatever you think is your technique, okay? Then leverage technology. To make this at a high level, we've got to not be scared of the tech. We've got to embrace it, learn a few simple tactics on how to do it, and put it to work every single day. And then practice scripts and dialogues daily. So again, top producer schedule. If you want to run through this, mastery for anything, right? And that acronym mastery starts every morning at 4:30 in the morning. 4:30, Brennan. What are you talking about? Your highest point of your day starts at 7:45. Go to bed at 8 o'clock. I don't care. At 2 o'clock, I don't care. But if your mastery starts at 4:30 in the morning, that M is meditation, right? So you're going to meditate for 10 minutes, affirmations for 5 minutes. So that's the A. Scripts and dialogue. So you're going to do your script practice. You're going to have a little script book sitting next to you in your little cool little area that you're going to practice. And you're going to review your scripts for 5 minutes. Read through them. Say them out loud. Say them to the wall. Whatever it is, right? So we're looking at just trying to every morning get your morning routine ready for you to attack what we're trying to do. Now, then the T is for your thinking of you or thank you cards. So you could also add this to your expired regimen. So again, every morning you're writing expired calls. They are all canned. You don't have to make these specific. You can make them specific, but boom, I'm doing 2 a day. Okay. Then you're doing that for 5 to 10 minutes. E is for exercise, 20 minutes to an hour of exercise. And then the Y, you're watching a YouTube video on how to do a better expired script or a better letter or a better whatever it is that you're trying to master at that time. So Y is for YouTube. So now you've done your morning mastery routine. You're a bad mamma jamma, ready to rock and roll. You get ready at 7:30. You're going to still do script review one more time because you've got to get ready and pumped up. 7:45, you light that phone up. From 8 o'clock until 11, you're doing hardcore lead generation. You're talking to your past clients, your center of influence, for sale by owners, just solds, NEDs, all of these different things. 11 to 12, you're doing your lead follow-up. 12 to 12:30, you're doing role play, live role play with either a role play partner or with us. Then from 12:30 to 1:30, lunch, walk, go on a hike, get some air, do whatever it is. And then the remainder of your afternoon, appointments or continue to lead gen. And if you do that and just that alone, nothing can absolutely touch you. It's just the deferred gratification. If I put $10,000 in front of you and I said, if you did this for a week, every day, exactly how I just explained, I'll give you this $10,000 right now, you would do it. The problem is you won't do it on the front side because you don't think that you're truly going to get the $10,000 later on. It's just a total mind switch, okay? And then lastly, have a value package, all right? So at our office, we do live role plays with everyone for Thursdays for Brendan Bartic coaching, but at our office, we have it every single day from 12 to 12:30. And one of the days that we just changed kind of the title for is on Wednesdays, we are doing Why Me Wednesdays. Why me? And if you think about that script, Why Me Wednesdays comes back to the value package. So when I ask you the objection, well, Anna, why should I use you? What makes you special? What makes you different? You need to be able to rip off why me, right? Well, because I, because I, because my company, We have 180,000 agents. We have 682 offices. We're in 22 countries. Whatever you're leveraging, if you're a small boutique, because we have the highest list price to sale price ratio on earth, because we do this, whatever it is, and you're so excited about your value package. Again, your chest is about to rip open with your Superman hero underneath you, because you can't wait to go and meet with them, because you don't want them to have to deal with another another goofball agent. I almost said numbnut. Goofball agent, right? You want to save them. You have to love your value package to be able to complete that. So, all right. So as we always do, education without implementation is stupidity. So if you're with me right now, I would love for you in the chat box or on your piece of paper, right? So you have to take action, act. Action changes things. What's one thing that you could throw in the chat box right now that you're going to do to either add this expired program, or you probably learned some things that you could do not only for expireds from this, but what's one thing that you can implement today, right? So think about all of that. So now, in kind of putting this all together, we talked about the script books, right? So Brendan Bartic Real Estate Coaching, that's where you can go find them. If for some reason you're still the last person on earth that's not on Facebook, and that's totally fine, I get it, just email us at info@brendanbartic.com. We'll be more than happy to send you a copy. So common real estate objections and the script book. This has to be part of your daily routine. All right. Then, as we said, so elite one-on-one coaching and our group coaching is right for you. So with group coaching, I believe, Anna, right now, if you email info@the-Bartic group, you save $50 per month on our group coaching thing. Now, that's even if you're not interested in it. If you just want to lock in the rate, so it's $250 or $249 a month instead of $300 a month, just email her at info@the-Bartic group, and all you have to put in the subject line is expired hero, right? You'll receive that $50 discount. Again, you want to take this to the next level. These are the techniques that we're going to be talking about. Now, another hesitation I get with expired listings is, I don't have a listing presentation that's worth a squat. Don't worry, we can help you with that, right? Because I didn't have one either. The reason I want to help somebody is there's nothing proprietary or crazy about all of this. It's just we can help you with shortcuts to get there, the same way that I had help from coaching companies that I used early on and all of that. It just helps you get there faster. That's what the whole point is. So if you have any interest in that, again, info@brendanbartic.com. And then, of course, we absolutely live doing these for your feedback, regardless of what you do. We're a phone call, an email away. Drop us a 5-star review, leave us a nice comment, tell other people, hey, this stuff's legit and we can learn a lot from it. I want to make sure that people go through the same experience I had. Started out with absolutely nothing to selling, 300 plus homes every single year to having a huge life. It can all start with just these simple little tweaks, right? These small tweaks make giant leaps, and that's what we do. So with that, I'll open it up to questions, and I'll stay on here for a while. If you're good to go, I always try to stay on time. We've got a few minutes left, but we'll leave that open for questions. I appreciate you guys. Thanks so much. And as always, I wish each of you great success. So questions, what do we got?
Yeah, awesome. I've got one that from our friend Brittany, and it really has to do with the objection handlers. So if you're getting more than one objection at a time, do you continue to sort of circle back around on that closing statement? And do they get upset if you kind of provide that repetitive persistence of, I need to see the home in order to know if I'm able to help you?
Yeah,
Can you
excellent.
speak to that?
Yeah, so when you start to learn the objection handlers, and I know there's some pros on here. I mean, I see Ray on here, Landon on here. I mean, I see some real ninjas on here. They can all tell you, and I'm just going to get out of this screen share so I can see the celebrity squares, right? So they can tell you that basically when you learn all the objection handlers, there's probably 4 or 5 that work for any one objection, right? So you'll start kind of being able to chain them together, and almost all of them start out with, your goal is to net the most money, right? Like you can always start with that one. Whenever you hear something, you're like, oh man, I'm scrambling, repeat back what their objection was, and then lead off with, well, your goal is to net the most money, right? And then you can go from there. But for the one of, hey, I just need to get in front of you and sit down with you, or whatever it is, I need to see the home so I can actually help you. So let's say, Anna, that I say, I need to see the home so I can actually help you. Well, Brendan, I don't care if you need to see the home or not. What do you charge for commission, right? And then they're going to throw that secondary objection. I'm going to immediately pivot to my objection handlers. Well, your goal is, I get it, John, I understand. Your goal is to net the most money possible. But until I see the actual home, the conversation about commission doesn't necessarily matter at this point because I haven't seen the home. So I'd love to come by, explain the aggressive approach that I take to get homes sold. Brendan, I get that. I only want to know, what do you charge for commission? Completely understand. And of course, commission is important. So we actually have a variable commission structure that starts at 4.5% when myself or any member of my organization represents the buyer for your home. 5% if we bring an outside broker, or if an outside broker brings the buyer, but you purchase your next home through me. And for some random reason, you decide at the last second to move to Alaska, I don't help you buy your next home, and we have to utilize an outside broker to represent the buyer, then it's the traditional 6%. So I'll be in your neighborhood anyway this afternoon at 4 o'clock. I can go through that entire structure in detail, give you estimated detailed net sheets so you'll know exactly what you'll be walking away with. And I can explain the aggressive approach that I take to get homes sold. Like I said, today at 4 o'clock, or does tomorrow at 1 o'clock work better for you? Now there's a lot in there, right? And it's a lot of just, but you can see the, it's gotta be that energy, that passion, that fire. So hopefully that answered that. What else?
That's great. So Kendra had a question, and I think it was regarding that percentage slide she asked, do we call 12 times the same list and the same people?
Do we call 12 times? I don't understand the question.
The time, 12 times calling the same list. Kendra, if you're still on the call, would you pop off mute and maybe clarify, and we'll kind of keep going through to see if there's any other questions in the meantime.
That's okay. So I see one here. Door knocking is now frowned upon since COVID. Is that correct? I live in a smaller community. So frowned upon in anything, right? So if you're door knocking in gloves and a mask, and you're going to the front door and you knock on the door and you step back and you socially distance, I don't think most people are going to have a major issue with that. Now, do as you see fit. I can tell you what's not going to get you the listing, not going there at all. That's just unfortunately the science behind it, right? So we can look at the social distancing. If I have 3 people maybe possibly be upset that I wasn't social distanced enough to get 2 or 3 listings a month, I'm going to live with that. That's a great question though. So yeah, I'm not telling you to do it. Do what you feel comfortable with, but I would definitely be very careful of that. So did you find that question?
No, not yet, but let's
Hey,
keep.
Anna, are you there?
Yeah. Oh, hey, Kendra. Perfect. Yeah.
How are you? So it's that slide that Brendan was talking about, how people will only call the expireds list maybe once or twice, then they'll give up. But he said that, isn't it like 80% of them you have to call on the 12th time? Is that you have to call them the same people in the same list 12 times, or how does that work?
Yeah. Yeah, now I understand, Kendra. Yeah, thank you. And so, yeah, no, you might have to call the same person 49 times. I mean, we'll have people, yell out in our office. They'll be like 65th try, right, after a 3-year period, and they finally got through. Now, Hopefully it doesn't take 65, but yes. So think about it this way. So you're going to start making your calls today. You're going to call, even if you just do once a day, well, it's going to start to compound all of the ones that you didn't reach in your database. Now, this is where the dialer can really help you burn through those phone numbers, because it's dialing 3 phone numbers at once. It's leaving an automated voicemail for you that you can customize every day, so your efficiency can become very high. Now, if you want to do it just manually, that's fine too. As I said, the old days, we used to use 2 phones, and we would literally dial one number, pick up the phone, dial the other number, pick up the phone until somebody answered. When somebody answered, if both answered at the same time, we just hung up on the other person and knew we could call them back. That's all a dialer is. It's just doing it digitally. So yes, call them 3 times a day, 7. So we kind of follow what we call our F6 process. So 6 days in a row. On the 7th day you rest, and then once a week, and then once a month from that point forward until they tell you to screw off or list with you. So good question. Brendan's got weird. Well, thank you, Daniel. I appreciate that. So here's some questions. If we don't, do we have more in, or I have a few that we should be asking?
Just clarify, do you have to use a service to look up people's contact information, in particular phone information?
No. So as I said, 411.com or truepeoplesearch.com. You can do that for free. Absolutely. We use it all the time anyway. I mean, even I double check sometimes Mojo's information just to see if I can get a different number from a different source, right? You should, as a real estate professional, if you're not using truepeoplesearch.com every day, then you got to think about something different. You're not in you're in the data harvesting game, and then you're in a nurture and client relationship game, but you can't have clients and nurturing if you don't have data to get in front of them, right?
And you recommend that over Spokio?
Yeah, Spokio is fine. I just found that True People Search worked a lot better, from even our ISAs using it, all of that. And then, like I said, if you want to go to another level, you have Nexus Lexus, so, Coles Realty, which we provide at our office for free. These types of services are extremely valuable because, again, the best information wins. Absolutely. What else? Cool. Oh, you got one? Or while you're waiting? Okay, well, okay. So here's other questions. If I could go back in time, and here's one of the questions you asked me, Brendan, if you could start all over and go back, what would you have done differently, right? Here's a couple of pro tips. Open yourself up to calling land, right? You might be thinking, land? What? I don't want to sell land. People sell land? Yes. Open yourself up to those search parameters and call land. Now, looking back, once I realized, and I know I said my first one was land, when I looked at that and I realized it, I got so many more people in my database because I was calling land listings. Whether I sold their land or not, I was building relationships because no one else was calling them. So open yourself up to other areas. Number 2 is go further out than you think you can, right? I've sold expireds in Keensburg, Schmarzensburg, all these cities that I don't even know where I was at. Bennett, Watkins, as far out as I could go. And then as you really get good at this, you'll add both MLSs and you'll cover more distance. The more distance you can cover, the more opportunities you have. Does it matter can I sell a house the same in Castle Rock that I can sell in Denver? 100,000% is the answer, yes. As long as I can service it, right? And there's a sign delivery company that delivers to Colorado Springs, that delivers to Fort Collins. The more ground I can cover, the more I can open myself up to better opportunities. So that's another, if you want more, that's a bigger way of doing it. Then how do you make your marketing material look professional, pro company, or in-house? All right, Cole, that's a great question. So yes, we do not do it in-house. We have a company that does it for us. I don't think it's Yellow Dog, but for some reason I have Yellow Dog in my mind. But email us at info@the Group and I'll give you some of that information. But when you look at that, yes, another thing about the expired listing game is I want to go there looking like a professional. I want to be sharp. I want to be, we didn't even talk about, we teach a whole nother class called List Like a Boss. So this was just expired listings, right? This is how to get in front of them. List like a boss and go to our YouTube channel right now and watch that one. I mean, if you want a master class in what to do when you get to the house, what the material should look like, how to present yourself, that's just at the Brendan Bartic YouTube page. You know, hit that little bell button so you can subscribe to all the classes that come out on there. But with your presentation, this comes down to the better you look, the more confidence they're going to have. And it doesn't have to be expensive. I think our entire listing presentation package with all in is something like $8 a package. $8 to make 12 grand, you know, and we had to get those costs down. Now ours includes a notepad, a pen, sample marketing, a really pretty folder, obviously high quality business cards, all of those things to make sure, and they all go together, right? A lot of it is continuity. And then you can also use those as deliverables if you want to do that, as far as a door knock or a pre-listing package or any of those things. But yeah, then the second piece of that conversation is I'd be worried less about your marketing material and I'd be more worried about how you look. To be very honest, not you specifically, Cole, right? Not you, Cole, but right, like your image is going to sell you. This is where, like I said, if you can fall in love with video and separate yourself apart and do a quick video text to that expired, do a quick video text, but have it looking smart, right? Like you're sharp, you're in a tie or in a nice dress or a nice business suit or whatever it is. And you're like, hey, this is da 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 da. And they're gonna be like, oh my gosh, that looks like a normal human. My last agent was kind of a moron. So maybe I want to go talk to this person so I can actually get my house sold. All right. So in looking at that though, if you show up in a polo shirt with a donut stain on it, good luck, right? I got so many listings because again, especially little old ladies would love me. They'd be like, you're the only one that wore a tie. I'm like, I know. I go, the rest are not professional businessmen, Sally. They're not. Look at them. Sign here, right? It works. It's a that's not even a joke. That is super true, right? All right, so material has to look good. You have to look good. And then, like I said, your entire listing process has to be very efficient to make this all work. When you have all of that synergy, it gets a lot better. But here's the other frustration with the expireds is you set a couple listing expired appointments, you go over to the house, you don't get the listing, and then you give up. Well, you got 50% of the equation right. You just haven't now worked on the second half of it, which is how to successfully list and close people at the home, because expireds are the Wild West. You go into an expired listing, it expired for, as we talked about, now that we're at the end of this, a couple of real reasons. It's gross. The person that's selling the house is batty and crazy, like Looney Tunes, right? The price is on another planet, right? They priced it so freaking high, they're living on another planet of reality. And those are usually the big ones, or the last agent. A lot of times it's not necessarily the agent that was the problem. It was the agent's lack or inability to explain to the seller what needs to happen is what get done. So if you're newer, it's hard to walk into that situation and you're nervous and you're on your listing appointment and there's 19 cats and she's like, so yeah, we don't know why it didn't sell. And I'm like, okay, well, what'd you do with all the cats when you were here? Well, people love cats. And if they don't like cats, they can screw off. They're not going to sell my house. Cool. All right. Then how do you have that effective conversation to get past that? And that's where most agents will just go, I'm going to list it with the cats. Rock and roll. Like, let me get my lint roller and we'll go to work. Right. But that's the difference is, okay, educating somebody with an emotional situation on why it doesn't make logical sense. Now, can she get rid of all 19 cats? And I'm using an extreme here, right? But there's things that we can do to structure it. So look, I want to price it right and have showings this Saturday and Sunday only from 12 to 4. I'm going to put all my firepower into getting everybody in there. But Lucy, I need you to get the 19 cats out of the house for those 4 hours on those 2 days. And if you give me that opportunity and we price it at a price that I know will cause this home to sell, I'll have you under contract by Monday. Or at least if we don't, we're going to know really what happened, because then it might not even be a matter of the cats, the price. We might be dealing with a bigger issue, but I guarantee you we're going to have a lot more showings and a lot more opportunities than if we keep the cats in here. So why don't we do the right thing, put them all into a little case and put them wherever they need. Where do they go, to cat daycare? I don't know, where do they go? Take them, put them in your van down by the river for all I care. Let's get them out of the house and let's get this place looking good so we can get it sold. Will you do that for me, Sally? Right? So that's, you're just, I know I'm being joking, but right, well, we're just solving problems. And that's the thing. So how do you learn how to solve problems? Role play. Role play, role play, role play. Because these questions come up all the time. And then you're sitting in the appointment and you're like, and you freeze. And as soon as you freeze, you just lit $12,500 on fire. $5,000 on fire, $1,000. You know, again, people are like, well, Brendan, I don't want to take a listing for, you know, less than $60,000 or a condo. I used to make $1,000. Now that client has now bought 6 properties with me. Don't get too snooty too early, right? List it all and you will be okay in that process. So are the contacts actual conversations versus number of calls? Great question, Catherine. Yeah. So, and kudos to Catherine for being an absolute role play ninja. But when we're looking at that, so conversion, the easiest numbers, 100 dials equals 20 conversations, usually equals 1 to 2 leads, meaning somebody that has some sort of interest per day. Okay. Now, does the calls always match up? No. I wouldn't care as much about making dials as in your mind, you don't get out of the office or out of your seat or do anything until you have 20 conversations a day about buying or selling real estate. If 3 or 5 of those can come from expireds every day, awesome, right? But 3 or 5 might need to come for sale by owners. 3 or 5 might need to come from your center of influence. 3 or 5 might need to come from the notice of elective demand. 3 to 5 need to come from doing calling around listings. 3 to 5 are going to need to come from leads that you buy. You got to get your 20. You got to get your 20 and be consistent. Okay. And again, we have a whole video on YouTube for all of that. So great. Yeah. For sample marketing, we use Express Docs. Yeah. We use it for a lot of things. Oh yeah. For sample marketing. Yep. Absolutely. Again, sample marketing. I love it. Like I said, make it gorgeous. It's a representation of you. Now with the sample marketing, one of the questions I didn't hear was, I have a different one for every property style. So if I have single family that I think is like 500 to 900 grand or 300 to 900 grand, I have one for single family for that. I have a beautiful brochure that I use for sample marketing for luxury. Anything over $1 million is a different level of brochure that I provide. So single family under $1 million, single family over $1 million. Then I have it for condo, same thing. So if I'm going to a condo in Cap Hill, right, or whatever, you know, I know people are in different areas. If I'm going to a mid-range area, I want to have a very beautiful sample condo one because I'm a condo specialist. I specialize in condos here in the Cap Hill area, and I want to make sure that I have that. Now, if I'm going into a luxury high-rise that's the 4 seasons and has western-facing views, then I need a different one for that. So single-family, condo, and then townhome I even ended up doing. So if you have a different one for townhome, because again, we have a lot of townhomes here in the metro area, I wanted to make sure that they knew I was a townhome specialist, townhome expert. Then the last one that you would have is for land. Well, Brendan, why am I going to use a brochure for land, whatever it is? Because the last person didn't. That's the only reason. Right? If one of your offerings is for your land listings that you're going to have a flyer box in front of it and you want to put land flyers in there, great. If it's me, here's my pitch to land. I'm going to have, here's the sample flyer. I'm going to deliver one of these by hand to every developer and builder in the front range. Okay. Or I'm going to mail it to every builder and developer in the front range. Did your last agent do that? Oh, no, I'm sorry. Your last agent was your cousin. That was your neighbor that lived down the street that literally has no idea what he's doing. Well, why did you, now do you realize why your land didn't sell? Because there was no strategy there. Cool. Are we good, Anna? Anything else? I'm losing
Nope, we're good. I think we've answered all of the questions. If you guys have extras, feel free to email them over to us and we're happy to answer those as well. And I did remind everyone this was recorded and that will be available on our official YouTube page in the next 48 hours.
Yeah, thank you guys again so much. Always a pleasure. If there's anything I can ever do to help, just let me know.